Hello, my name is Merve Luçlu. I am from English Literature and Language Teaching class. In my video, I will be talking about comparative and contrast analysis regarding to the importance of choice in the zoo story play and Medusa poem. So let's start with my content, which includes the historical background of existentialism, and its subtitle, The Importance of Choice. And then here comes my thesis statement and my support, and I will be ending my presentation with the conclusion. So, people have been discussing these questions for many years, like why do we exist? What is the point of life? Is there a meaning of existing? To answer these questions, here comes the existentialism, which have some subtitles like the importance of individual, importance of choice, anxiety regarding life and death, meaning and absurdity, authenticity and responsibility, social criticism, and importance of personal relations. However, I will be mostly focusing on the importance of choice in my video. Well, when we talk about existentialism, it should be said that Albert Camus and Jean-Paul Sartre are the pioneers of this movement. They suggest that every individual are supposed to create their own lives, their own selves, and their own values, because there is no they think that there is no such thing as God or destiny. Instead, everything depends on humans' own choices. Therefore, people are responsible for their choices, which can be sometimes led them to despair or agonize. So it can be said that existentialism is not all about puzzling our brains on how meaningless the life is. However, it is also about the responsibility that all human beings have to make the right choices throughout their lives. Well, to gain insight of these ideas, the short story, the short play, The Zoo Story, written by Edward Albee, and the Medusa poem, written by Carol Ann Duffy, are going to be analyzed in the sense of similarities of the importance of choice. Well, the Zoo Story is actually an example of an absurd theater, including two main dialogues who belong to different social classes, while the Medusa poem tells us the story of a woman who was cursed by a Greek god. So here is my thesis statement, which actually stresses on the point where the two of these literary works get in a similar fashion. That is, both of the literary works demonstrate the fact that people are responsible for their choices when it comes to each individual can choose who they are going to be. They can also choose how to treat the others who are weaker than themselves. And lastly, every choices of human beings become the milestone of their lives. So let's see the supports for my thesis statement. Here is the first support. No matter what life gets individuals to experience, they can choose who they are going to be. Well, when we look at the Medusa poem, the speaker questions, wasn't I beautiful? Wasn't I fragrant and young? So it can be claimed that, yes, she was a beautiful and fragrant woman. Then she was cursed, which was not her choice. However, she chose to be the villain, the bad woman that turned her into the monster. Similarly, in the Zoo story play, Jerry is described a man in his later days, and not poorly dressed, but carelessly. And it is also said that while he's no longer handsome, it is evident that he was once. So we can think that Jerry was not always like this fat and carelessly dressed man. Indeed, he was even handsome, which can be implied that he chose to be this man right now. You know, life is not a bed of roses for anyone. Not for Medusa, not for Jerry, not for any of us. But despite all the challenges in the life, it is people's choices to become what they want to be. So let's continue with my second support. People can decide how to treat others who or which are weaker than themselves. When we look at the Medusa poem, the speaker explains how she practices her powers on innocent animals such as bees, birds, cats, and pigs to turn them into stones. But why? Let's see what Medusa says in the poem. I glanced at a buzzing bee. A dull gray pebble fell to the ground. I glanced at a singing bird. A handful of dusty gravel spattered down. Yes, she has the power to do that. I mean, to turn things into stones. However, it doesn't mean that she has to do so. It is only her choice to turn these innocent creatures into stones, because we all know that Medusa wears glasses when she wants to control her powers. Besides, she says, look at me now, to the Greek god who cursed her. She obviously threatens him with that because she is powerful now. So similarly, Jerry from the zoo story is normally afraid of the dog, which is physically powerful than himself, but when he finds the correct time in which he is stronger than the dog in a way, he takes the chance to kill the dog. So both of these literary works prove that people can choose how to treat others in any kind of situation. So it is their choice to be curious, of which both Medusa and Jerry are complaining. You know, they used to say how curious the society is, how curious the Greek god is for Medusa, how curious is the policeman, the landlady for Jerry. But you see, they choose to be curious when they have the chance instead of being kind. So let's see my last support. Well, regarding all the choices of Medusa and Jerry made, at the end of the poem and the play, it can be seen that they, the characters, turned into something else. What does it mean? Let's see in the Medusa poem first. Medusa tells herself that whenever she looks at the mirror, she sees a gorgon, which is a kind of mythical devil, and a dragon, which can be said that she is now aware that she has become a monster for the rest of her own life. But here is the question. Is it the curse or her actions and choices that turned her into a monster? You know, the answer is quite obvious, right? Similarly, Jerry escalates the fight between Peter and himself at the end of the play. But when Peter doesn't fight back at him, Jerry impales on the knife and he dies. So one of the characters is a monster and the other one is a dead body anymore. just because of their own choices. Well, considering all the examples that currently mentioned, it can be claimed that both of the literary works demonstrate every individual is responsible for their choices in the sense of choosing who they are going to be, how to treat the others, and lastly, giving the decisions that will become their life's milestones at the end of the day. Well, by getting my final words, I can say that it is our decision to make, when life gives us lemons, whether making lemonades or not. I personally suggest you make lemonades, which are pretty delicious. Otherwise, it would be very challenging to survive in this so-called absurd world. So, long story short, we are our choices and we need to choose the best way to go in this absurd world. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed my video.